Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you the full review on this Addiesdive AD2029. If you recall, I did a triple unboxing on 3 Addiesdive watches, and this is the last one of the bunch which I need to give you my full kind of thoughts and opinions on. Now, in the unboxing, I mentioned that the last time I reviewed an Explorer style homage, which was a Cadison, I was pretty peed off, or just ran out of enthusiasm, right? I said I'm bored of checking the same watch again and again, which is basically just recycled with different names. I mean, when it comes to Explorer style cases, or any case for that matter on AliExpress, there's levels to these cases, and you can really see the budget ones to the mid-range to the really high-end ones. So when you get a repeat of the budget ones, it really makes no difference. Then it's just the name that you're after. So if you like Cadison on there, or if you like Pagani on there, or whatever. Now with this Addiesdive, it was different enough. It did appeal to me. You've probably seen the other reviews on this watch. They do a lot of other dial options which are textured. Unfortunately for me, I don't like that texture. I really dislike it. Even on the Seiko dials that use that kind of oil pressed or wavy texture, it just isn't for me. So with this one, I liked how understated it came across, and still, while being a Explorer homage, it still looks different enough. So what is so different about this? Things which I find are different about this watch is the first thing that you look at is the A face. That bezel is very slim. It's the slimmest bezel I've seen, and I think that does really help that Explorer style case, because the older Explorer style cases, if you will, the bezel was very thick. And while it's subjective, for me, it's a huge turn off. I don't like how much they kind of take over the watch face. With this slim bezel, it's very complementary to the dial. It does give it that understated look. So I do like how slim it is, and the polishing on it is also perfect. Now the dial itself is a very understated dial. It's a plain sunray black. It's a very deep black as well, and it does do well reflecting against the light. Now, one thing about specifications to point out, that this does not have a sapphire crystal, as I told you guys in the unboxing. This has a bubble style mineral crystal, and you can see the excessive AR coating. Now I find AR coating on mineral glass does do this. However, with this black dial, it's not overpowering. As you can see, it is just kind of hitting the edges of that dome crystal, and it makes it look interesting. It does give it just that bit of blue around that black dial. Now, another thing different about the dial, which clearly you guys can see, is the fact that the hour markers and the handset are a totally different setup than what you normally see. You don't have numerals. You've got actually very lovely, tapered baton hour markers applied perfectly to the dial. I mean, no smudges to the naked eye, and you've got a difference in finishing. You've got brushed A-face, you've got polished chamfers, and a lot of polishing around these, very nicely cut hour markers. Let's see if I can give you guys just a bit of a closer look and just see how that light reflects off all these different cuts and facets present. So that is, quite a high quality dial. That's something I got to give it to Addiesdive. Just have a look at that block there. It is actually brushed, horizontally, which again looks lovely. So there's a lot going on with the dial, and this is why I think it is different enough from the other Explorer homages that we see. The second thing is, of course, the handset. Who doesn't like a well polished set of Dauphine hands? Very sharp and crisp, chamfered and polished. And again, what you'll notice is there's no imperfections, no smudges, no bits of debris that you find on other watches, even at a higher price point. So wherever this was assembled, there is a fair bit of quality control going on. Then, of course, on the black dial, you've got the Addiesdive logo and the text above the 6. So this is where it can go wrong. It's purely subjective. Whether or not you like the Addiesdive text or font, that's entirely a different story. But for the most part, it looks like it is. I like the understated nature. I like the level of detail on these hour markers, and also the handset used. And I think the black background really does reflect that nicely. I believe you can also get this in white, but for contrast purposes, I would go for the black. Now, looking at the case, it is still somewhat different. You've got brushed lugs, and you do have, still uniform brushing in a linear fashion. It does match the linear brushing on those end links for the bracelet. And of course, the polished center links of the bracelet does complement that polished bezel. So it's a good match between the brushing and the polishing. It does tie everything in together. Plus the aesthetics on the dial, I think, they've done really well with this. You've got a very small crown, which is around 5.4 millimeters with the Addiesdive text, but it's a very nice crown. Just notice the width on the crown. So when we do kind of open it, using the crown is very nice because of that added width. It's not those slim crowns, and also it does engage really well with the threads. Very smooth. And this is the second watch that I've noticed they've got very smooth threads on. The last one being, of course, the GMT Addiesdive that I reviewed, which was really good. So far, so good. I mean, there's no loom on the dial, so it's not something we can check. But the overall, quality I can see in hand is really good, and there's nothing I can fault. The bracelet, as I mentioned before, it is what it is. It's a standard 5-link bracelet, loads of flexibility, but also loads of comfort. Now they've also gone for the same class that we saw on the previous watch, the GMT one, polished chamfered edges, linear brushing across the top end, your engraving of your logo and text, 5 micro adjustments, which is more than adequate. It's a perfect clasp for this watch. So here's the Addiesdive AD2029 on my 6.5-inch wrist, and it is a joy to wear. It fits really nice on my 6.5-inch wrist. Lots of flexibility on that bracelet, conforms really well. As you know, it's very good on articulation as well. That AR coating will kind of get in the way sometimes, but for the most part it's inoffensive. And as I mentioned, the dial, the bezel, that just looks really good. I really like what they've done here, and I really like they've not gone for that standard look that we get day in day out from all the other brands used. So where do I stand with this? Well, basically, if you are in the market still of an Explorer homage, and you're a bit like me, sick and tired of seeing the same old cases being used, Cadison, Pagani, whoever they are, give this a chance because it's different enough. It's got so many other dressier elements, still with a sporty sort of look. And it just works. And if you want to go for the other dial options on this watch, the textured ones, then feel free as well, for a price point of just around £82. And if this video is released in the sale period, then it will be even cheaper. So there's a lot going for this Addiesdive, and they have impressed me. So that's me done on that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video.